What's good, guys? How are you guys doing? Welcome back to the pod. It's your boy Omar. All right, the NBA season's ready to kick off very, very soon, so it's only right we kick it off with the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference in a couple of days. It's been a very, very long minute, but with different things. But now we have everything settled, so let's just get right into it. So we're gonna have the contenders, the playoffs, the play-in tournament, and the lottery. So the playoffs, because the regular season it's just so weird. So we're gonna have not necessarily seeded, but where teams can fit into a certain group instead of having seedings because records be so close, and this is the most competitive we've seen the league verity wise. So I think it'll be better to do it this way. So let's just get the worst teams. The Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets are just the Charlotte Hornets at this point. Miles Bridges having another court date. Hopefully Brandon Miller turns out to be something good for them. Melo Ball, hopefully he stays healthy this year. Then you have the Kai Jones situation where he's waived and he was a young, talented young player, but he went off the rails. I don't know what ever happened to him. He's started twerking on live and tweeting wild stuff, but the Charlotte Hornets at the end of the day, they have a couple of veterans in Gordon Hayward, young guys, but I don't see them continue for the play-in tournament. Now, another team will be the Washington Wizards. It's about damn time. If we're going to be frank, it's about damn time that Washington Wizards finally blew it up, trading away Bradley Beal, trading away Kristaps Porzingis. And you're going to have a team to put out there that's going to be entertaining with Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. You have young guys like Corey Kispert. The Washington Wizards aren't going to be good. I think they will be somewhat fun to watch. So this is just going to be the growing pains of a rebuilding team moving forward for Washington. There's not much to say more about Washington. I don't expect much from them, but we will see. Also, in terms, Indiana. I think the Indiana Pacers. Let's make this clear. The Washington Wizards and the Charlotte Hornets are going to be the worst two teams in the Eastern Conference. I think Detroit. Not one in the end of a minute, but the Detroit Pistons. So the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham's coming back from injury. You never know how long that takes for a guy to fully come back from injury like that. So does Cade Cunningham come blaze glory and have hit the road already getting back to what he is, or is he going to take some time, have rust, and that's how most players are? If that's the case, you can have more growing pains as the Detroit Pistons. You get one of the Thompson twins, Jalen Ivey. He's very, very talented. You have Marvin Bagley off the bench. You have all these guys, Beef Stew. The Detroit Pistons are a good young team. I think they're a year away from being a year away. Let Cade Cunningham have a full year recovering from his injury. And I think after that not this team, but the next, Detroit will be back in the play-in tournament. And not so much an NBA help, but as a young team continuing to grow. And they will be in about 3-4 years, you might see them in deep playoff runs. The Brooklyn Nets. Will come back. I'm gonna go through the contenders. I think the Boston Celtics are a contender. Easy, you have the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. You added Kristaps Porzingis, which I really liked a lot. You added Jrue Holiday, which is amazing. You finally have someone that deep in the playoffs. Once the offense we've seen from the Boston Celtics get stagnant and become shaky down the stretch, you finally have a point guard like Jrue Holiday, who's also an elite defender, to calm the pace and control the offense and get easier shots for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now, this being said, because the Boston Celtics gave up so much of their depth to get a strong start first six, you have to rely on guys like Peyton Pritchard, who often got played out because of the defensive end. Relies on guys like Kornet. But that's also to say, the Boston Celtics are one major issue away from plummeting down the standings, in my opinion. You don't have the depth to be able to take a hit to injuries. Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee should be the favorite. In the Eastern Conference, you have Giannis. You were able to keep Chris Middleton, and you add the second best point guard in the NBA, arguably the clutchest player in the NBA. Damian Lillard is the addition of Damian Lillard is absolutely insane. You brought back Brook Lopez. You It's absolutely wild how the Bucks were able to keep this roster together. I think they're going to be very much in the mix again. I think the Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo pick and roll is going to be lethal and unguardable at this point. You don't have a way. Looking at how the Bucks run the offense, there's no way you can guard that offense. You're not going to leave guys like Pat Connaughton open, Brook Lopez open. They're too good of shooters to leave open. You're not gonna leave Chris Middleton, and what? You're gonna leave Giannis 1-on-1 coming down the lane. You're gonna let Lillard go 1-on-1. Good luck to any team. I'm very intrigued to see how teams look to defend the Bucks, because at this point, I think it's gonna be very difficult for any of these teams to do so. But we will see. But yes, the Bucks are definitely one of the contenders. Philadelphia. I like Nick Nurse a lot as a coach. I think Tyrese Maxey's going to get a lot better. I'm looking for Tobias Harris bounce back season to have his usage come back up. You have, of course, Joel Embiid, one of the best players in the NBA. But of course, you also added depth in Mo Bamba off the bench. I think this is one of the better. You brought back Danny Green. This is going to be one of the better Sixers team depth wise. But of course, it's all going to depend on what you're able to do with James Harden. James Harden did go to training camp. He said he is going to play, although he doesn't really mess with management at the moment. But if Harden does play out the season, even if he does, if you do trade away James Harden and you get valuable role players then I don't either way. I think the Philadelphia 76ers in a new system where it's going to take the load off Joel Embiid is going to be very successful for this team. And the 76ers may very come out of these. But in my opinion, a team that's been very, very, very slept on are the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, we saw them take a first round exit and lose to the New York Knicks in the first round. But we have to remember that was Evan Mobley's and Darius Garland's first playoff appearance. As a young team, you never know how the first experience is going to be, how you're going to respond to it. Maybe it's too physical, and that's exactly what we saw. The New York Knicks were able to manhandle the Cleveland Cavaliers and be physical with them. Now, I fully expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to be right back there. And I think the addition of Max Strus is very, very dangerous for the Cavaliers. You finally have that small forward that's able to spread the floor for Garland, for Mitchell, for Mobley. You still have Jared Allen on the inside. Karis LeVert finally had his needed surgery. Isaac Okoro is still an elite defender off the bench. They're going to be good. If the Cavaliers come out of the Eastern Conference, I would not be surprised. Are they my pick? No. But the Cavaliers are deep and they're talented enough to beat any of those three teams. But again, let me know what you guys think. There's been a lot of people sleeping on the Cavaliers, but we will see. So there's four. I think those are going to be the top four teams in the Eastern Conference, 1 through 4, and whatever order they end up finishing in. Now, the 5 and 6 teams, very, very difficult. Assuming that this is also going to be 15, 14, 13 in terms of rankings. You saw two teams that missed the play-in tournament, being the 11-12 season in the Eastern Conference. So the other two teams I also think will be in the lottery. We're going to have to look at the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors losing Fred VanVleet. For nothing. You bring in Dennis Schroeder to fill in the void, but that doesn't really move the needle for me. It seems that the Raptors are running the offense to Jakob Porto in the preseason, which is a question mark since you have Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes, but that's neither here or there. I don't know how much to believe in Scotty Barnes as well. Hopefully he has a somewhat of a 3-point shot coming into the season to the point where the Raptors offense can be spread out. See what Siakam's when they're doing Pascal Siakam, what they do with OG Anunoby. I think this is another team that the Raptors should also go in the direction of the Washington Wizards, especially because some of these guys like Siakam and OG Anunoby have so much value, blowing up the team and start rebuilding. You know, they gambled it all in the Kawhi Leonard trade years ago. They got it. They got the championship, and now they've been going down the drain. And I just think it's time for the Raptors just to hit the reset button. Now, the last team I think that will be missing the playoffs very close would be the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Indiana Pacers they're going to be a good team. One of the more slept teams in the Eastern Conference. Not to say that I'm sleeping on the Indiana Pacers. It's just injuries happen in the NBA. We've seen it from a team just getting dismantled. Happened to them last year. They are one Tyrese Halliburton injury for plummeting down the standings. We don't know if it happens or not, but there's more to say that Halliburton doesn't play all 82 games in the season. And I don't think the Indiana Pacers, even with adding Bruce Brown, which I like, does enough for their depth. Would I be surprised if they make the play-in tournament or playoffs? No. But I just think these other teams have more depth to them and have more solid foundation that they can't take an injury and still survive for a period of time. So, as of now, if we're looking at the numbers for seedings, we have the 1 through 4. We have 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now we're going to look at the playoffs and the play-in tournament. I think the Chicago Bulls aren't going to be in the play-in tournament. I don't understand why the Bulls just won't blow it up. I don't get it. DeMar DeRozan is not getting any younger. Nikola Vucevic is not getting any younger. Zach LaVine, I guess they're asking for a huge price that no one's willing to pay. Lonzo Ball is going to miss another year. And this was such the perfect opportunity to start to get back some draft capital. You no longer owe the Magic any picks. If you're the Bulls, it just doesn't make sense where you're not looking to get draft capital and build up. I just don't think the Bulls they're talented, but without Lonzo Ball especially, I just don't see them being the 5 or 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. I think they're going to be in the play-in tournament and probably lose in the play-in tournament once again. The Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are very, very interesting. You have Spencer Dinwiddie. I think Nicholas Claxton is going to be a very, very good center in the Eastern Conference. But let's see what Mikal Bridges does coming to the season. I expect him to be an all-star caliber player. I think it's going to be great on both ends of the floor. Cam Johnson being a good 3-and-D guy. But, of course, the question mark will be Ben Simmons. Which Ben Simmons are we getting this year? I am excited and I'm hopeful to see Ben Simmons bounce back. Not necessarily become the shooter that everyone wants him to be, but to back what he was in Philadelphia. Someone that can control the offense, push the floor, guard 1 through 5, be an elite playmaker, get to the rim at will. And if that's the Ben Simmons they get, then Brooklyn can make a little bit more of a run. But if Ben Simmons is the passive Ben Simmons that doesn't really want to put pressure on himself, then it's going to be an issue and Brooklyn's going to struggle. But that's just what I see for Brooklyn. I don't know what else to think of them. They go as far as Ben Simmons goes. Now, you can see that as 9 and 10. I think the Miami Heat, they're starting to play Mountain Guy. This is again, Miami was supposed to get this superstar. They basically tampered damn near to get Lillard. They didn't do it. You lost Vincent to the Lakers. You lost Strus to the Cavaliers. You didn't replace them. And because of Heat culture, we expect them to go back. Like the reason they made the run last year was, of course, Jimmy Butler played great, but Gabe Vincent and Max Strus caught fire. But because of Heat culture, we're supposed to expect the Heat, who lost those pieces and without replacing them, to go back? No. The Miami Heat are not going to be They're not going to be in that conversation. I just don't expect them to. They'll be a playing in tournament team, but that's about it. They're not better than the three remaining teams. The Atlanta Hawks, I expect them to have a bounce back year. Trae Young's probably gonna have an elite season. DeJounte Murray, I think that backcourt's gonna get a lot better. You finally move off of John Collins. We'll see if that lets room for the young guys to grow. Or if that's an addition to subtraction. You still have Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu off the bench. The Hawks are gonna be good. Quinn Snyder's a great coach, and I fully expect the Hawks to be decent enough to be up there, be a very, very dangerous team. The New York Knicks. Yeah, playing tournament team. At some point, Thibodeau's gonna be Thibodeau. It sucks. Jalen Brunson is a great, great player. I don't have a lot of faith in Julius Randle. Randle has up and down years. You can't really count on when it matters most. We saw it in the playoffs, and the last couple of times the Knicks have been in the playoffs, Julius Randle fizzled out, and it's very easy to get to the side. I think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but the New York Knicks and how they play, they run all their starters heavy. Mitchell Robinson can't stay healthy. And you have players like Evan Fournier getting upset. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of faith in the New York Knicks roster outside of Jalen Brunson. Again, all these teams are going to be very, especially from 5 to like 11, 12, it's going to be very, very close. And any of these teams can flip-flop. But to wrap it up, I believe in the Orlando Magic. Regardless of anyone else says, the team started 5-20 due to injuries. The Magic went on to go 28-25, I believe, before taking the last 3 games of the previous year. You add a guy like Joe Ingles to their depth. Jonathan Isaac is fully healthy, coming back. They have everyone in their training camp. You have a jump from France, who just won gold for Germany in the World Cup. A better a better Paulo Banchero. Markelle Fultz seems to be getting better. Jalen Suggs, fully healthy, finally had a healthy offseason. Cole Anthony still off the bench. Gary Harris. And I think this team has finally, because of now that they're healthy, plus adding depth in Joe Ingles, drafting Anthony Black. So now if you do have injuries at the guard position, you have someone to plug in there. Drafting Jet Howard, having an excellent shooter out of the rotation to start the year. If I don't expect Anthony Black or Jet Howard to start playing for the Magic, I fully expect to have them play the full Suggs, Wagner, Banchero, Wendell Carter, which Wendell Carter is one of the most underrated centers in the NBA. And then I also fully expect the second string 5 to be Cole, Gary, Ingles, J.I., and Mo Wagner or Goga Bitadze, whichever the situation fits. But I believe the Magic are going to be top 5 defensively. They're a great defensive team, great defensive players. And I fully expect, due to internal growth, that the offense will get better enough. And because of that, they're going to be a playoff team, which no one wants to talk about, which is fine because no one pays attention to Orlando. But I think they will surprise a lot of people in this coming up season. So that's going to do it. Let me know what you guys think. Is there any team that belongs in another tier? Let me know in the comments section down below. So I also want to say that I'm also very excited to do something else. Like, I will never, ever stop talking about basketball and the NBA, but I'm excited to introduce one of my other passions to the channel, which you guys will probably be seeing next. But without further ado, like, comment, and subscribe to the thing. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.